first things first, I need a break because I was running rampant. I also got a new job and I was posting like 3 videos a day and I needed a break. So 3 videos are coming plus this one. And in this episode, first off, we gave out an absolute great pick in the Discord last night. Not trying to sell picks, but we do share ideas. Gave out
We're not
Boston
selling
College.
any picks. It's just providing ideas.
Yeah, providing ideas and also a place for us to hang out, talk. If you guys ever want to watch games, I'm usually in there on the weekends watching games, whatever. Do whatever you want. Anyway, gave out Boston College money line and the under. Smack that. Now we have enough money to gamble on Thursday night. And I posted a bunch of my parlays and my straight picks that you guys will see in there as well. Please join up, hang out, talk in there, share your bets, bet slips, whatever you want to do. The Discord's great.
That's right.
So we're officially here. Obviously, we're going to go through first. We're going to go through the divisions. Me and Noah for the last month and a half legitimately went through every single NFL team, broke down their entire offseason, how it went. Jesus,
bless you.
how it went, and ultimately we never really came up with exactly what we were going to do. We kind of talked through it, but now we're just going to kind of put a bow on it, pick our division winners, go through that. And then after that, we're going to go into our futures picks. I'm sure Noah has some. I think I have some as well. And then lastly, we're going to preview the Thursday night game. And then we're going to do we're going to squeeze in another episode to preview this Sunday slate. Sound good?
Works for me.
All right, let's start off then with the AFC East. The Jets are favored to win in this division at plus 160, followed by the Bills at plus 195, plus 210 for the Miami Dolphins, and plus 2,600 for the New England Patriots. They are not even in consideration, it seems like. Who do you have for this division? I think me and you are probably going to pick the exact same thing.
Yeah, I have the Jets in this one. I mean, I spoke very highly of Josh Allen. I think he's phenomenal. But I just think that if we go out there and we see even like a 75-80% season from Aaron Rodgers, I think this Jets team takes the division. They have talent on both sides of the football, probably the best offensive line that they've had in a few years, best quarterback they've had in a few years. Garrett Wilson, spectacular. Breece Hall, spectacular. And then the defensive side of the ball speaks for itself. One of the best in the league.
Yeah, I'm right with you. You need Aaron Rodgers. I'm not kidding. You could have 60% of Aaron Rodgers play. You need a competent quarterback in that behind center, and this team has a really good chance. Their defense is absolutely disgusting. Garrett Wilson's one of the best wide receivers in the game. Breece Hall is one of the best running backs in the entire game. I've been on that all off season. And we're going to watch that play out. So easy one, AFC East. I'm going to keep track of all these as well. AFC East, the Jets. Next, AFC South winner. The Houston Texans plus 100, Jacksonville plus 190, the Colts at plus 320, and the Tennessee Titans at plus 950. Who do you have to win the AFC South, brother?
I've got the Jacksonville Jaguars winning the AFC South.
Damn.
I think we're due for a special Trevor Lawrence season. I think he's going to stay healthy. I think he has some good weapons around him. Evan Ingram, Brian Thomas, Christian Kirk, ETN in the backfield. I really like those guys. And then I'm drawing a blank. Josh Hines Allen, correct? On the defensive side of the football. Obviously, this is no disrespect to Houston, but I think that it's going to be difficult to win the division back-to-back years. And I think they're going to be really good. I think this is going to come down to the wire, but ultimately I'm going with the Jags here. I think Doug Peterson's coaching for his job, and I think he has to put out a special season or he's gone.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a resident Jags fan on this show. I'm also picking the Jaguars as well. I just think everybody is sleeping on this team. They're still really good. Somebody said the other day about the Jacksonville Jaguars defense about Trayvon Walker not being good. He had a quiet 10 sacks last season. Josh Allen Hines had 18. I mean, they have legitimately a great pass rush duo that is going to cause major havoc all season long. We watched it happen last year. We watched them absolutely shoot out to a crazy start to start the year. He had Trevor Lawrence had a concussion, hurt his knee, and a high ankle sprain and a shoulder injury, played through all of it, and ultimately they fell short. If he stays healthy this year, which I think there's no reason why he shouldn't, again, I love Jacksonville to win this division as well. I think they're just a better team.
I think for the entire AFC, we're going to have the same teams.
All right, so let's go to the AFC North winners. The Baltimore Ravens plus 145, the Bengals at plus 165, the Browns at plus 450, and the Pittsburgh Steelers at plus 750. What do you have?
I've got Baltimore. I think even with them losing their defensive coordinator, I still think they're just too talented of a unit. I trust Lamar Jackson. Whenever he plays, they win football games. This division, obviously, as we know, is an absolute gauntlet. But I just don't feel great with any of these other quarterbacks in this league or in this division. I don't feel good about Russ. I love Joe Burrow, but the odds of him staying healthy for a full season are probably really slim. And then we just don't really know what we're going to get from Deshaun Watson. A lot of good defenses, 3 good defenses in this division, but I trust Lamar the most out of all of them.
Yeah, we talked about it when we previewed the Ravens. Lamar wins 70+% of his games whenever he's the starter, and if he plays for a full year, he's probably going to win MVP. The Ravens are the best regular season team in the game. The fact that they're plus money, I think, is a really good sign, and just take them. Again, I don't think the Bengals are going to be as good as I think this entire division as a whole takes a step back. Don't think the Bengals are going to be as good as people think. I think the Steelers are going to be an absolute dumpster fire. And I think the Browns ultimately are the second best team in this division, just strictly based off their defense. So, yeah, I think the Ravens run away with this division for sure.
Good.
Next.
3 for 3.
Next, the AFC West. The Chiefs are minus 270 to win this division. The Chargers are plus 390. The Vegas Raiders are plus 1,000, and the Broncos are plus 2,000. What a terrible division. It looks obviously the Kansas City Chiefs are runaway favorites on paper. What are you thinking for this division?
Yeah, I mean, I do have a future on this division, but I do have the Chiefs winning. I don't think this is a situation where it's even worth like trying to get cute. I think there's a significant gap between the Chiefs and the rest of these teams, unlike some of these other divisions. I don't think it's. I think we'll see a decent Chargers team. I just don't really know what we're going to get from the rest of this division other than the Chiefs. And I don't really think I don't think it's worth trying to pick a team that we just are really unsure about.
Yeah, that's completely fair. I'm going to go with the Chargers in this spot. Ultimately, I'm just not going to get fooled of what happened last season with the Chiefs. They were not a good football team. They lost one to the Raiders at home. They dropped one to the Broncos. Like, I think that this is a situation where the Chiefs are pretty much the exact same team. I don't care that they added Hollywood Brown. He doesn't do anything for me. If you've been on 3 teams in 4 years, you're not good anymore. The Xavier Worthy pickup doesn't do anything for me. Travis Kelce's a year older. They lost Snead on the defense. I think that Kyle Brandt told a really great story on Bill Simmons. I'm sure that you remember it, where he has anywhere that he's gone, he has turned around the program extremely quick. When he went into the NFL first year, he was in the playoffs. This guy makes quick changes and is going to make an impact. I think that they're obviously going to be at an advantage because you're playing teams like the Raiders and the Broncos. And pretty much, I think it's a neck and neck race between the Chargers and the Chiefs. And I think getting the Chargers at plus 390 is great value. Next, what do you think of that? Is that crazy?
I don't think that. I mean, like, I think the Chargers and the Chiefs can beat up on the teams in this division. I just think that at the end of the day, the Chiefs are going to probably win more football games than the Chargers throughout the season. So even if the Chiefs and the Chargers do finish with the same in division record, the
What if they're
Chiefs end up
both at
winning.
what if they're like both at 8 wins and like are duking it out for that number one spot? Like I said, I just the Chiefs
Like
last
8
year,
wins at what point in the season?
like towards the end, like what's I just think what stuck out to me when I was like when we previewed all these teams, I think the Broncos got a little bit better. I do. I think
Right.
that
Yeah, I agree.
I think the Raiders, if Gardner Minshew is playing, I don't think that they're going to win as many games, but I think that like it's a better feeling watching them play. Um, and if they drop 2 games, like the Chiefs dropped 2 games to these teams last year when they were in a way worse state than they were this year. I feel like, so I'm thinking like if the Chiefs split with everybody and the Chargers can split with everybody, what does that matchup look like? I don't know. I think that it's going to be close. The odds indicate that there's no shot at this division being a like competitive. My argument is I think it is going to be competitive, and I think getting the Chargers at plus 390 is a good value.
I mean, I don't disagree with getting them at plus 390. I mean, if they can, if they like, people are still forgetting that they have Justin Herbert, and Justin Herbert, I still think, is one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. It's just a matter of, can they get people on the outside to step up? Like their wide receiver position is questionable. So like if they have somebody step up, I think it's a little bit more likely that this is a more competitive race between the two, because I think their O line got better. I think their coaching got better. They still have Khalil Mack on the defensive side of the ball. They still have Derwin James. Like they still have like blue chip guys. But I don't know how to feel about this wide receiver room yet.
It's completely fair. Next division, the NFC East. We're switching over to the NFC. The Eagles are favored in this division at minus 140, Cowboys plus 175, the Commanders at plus 1100, and then the Giants at plus 1600. What are you thinking?
I mean, yeah, I got to go with the Eagles. I think they're the best team on paper. I do think that they have I think they have a great chance. I think what'll usually happen is they end up splitting with Dallas, and then they'll probably take 2 from the Giants, and then who knows with the Commanders. I feel like the Commanders always end up playing them pretty tough, but the NFC East never has hasn't had the same team win the division in back-to-back years, and I don't even know how long. So I think that trend continues. Last year it was Dallas. This year, we see. I think it's going to be the Eagles, but I mean, I think it's going to come down to probably the last few weeks of the season as well.
Yeah, this is a weird division. Ultimately, I don't think the Eagles fix their defense in any way, shape, or form. You're rolling out Kaylee Ringo and fucking Isaiah Rogers as your starting corner. I just don't think
I
that
did hear an update on that. It's going to be
what
Quinyon and Slay.
regardless, I just don't think that the Eagles fixed any of their issues on the defensive side of the football. I think that they're still weak there. From an offensive perspective, I think that it's just they have so much to prove. Honestly, at this point, I want to see them actually be competent and snap. I know they got Saquon, but that should be a dominant unit, not like a middling unit. And ultimately, I think Dallas just by far has the better players in the division. They have CeeDee Lamb. I think Dak's a better quarterback than Jalen Hurts. And they have Micah Parsons, who's the best edge rusher, one of the best edge rushers in the entire league. And ultimately, like the Cowboys as a regular season football team is a walking 11 to 12 win football team. And I know that there hasn't been repeats of this, but I'm going to go with the Cowboys to repeat at plus 175. The NFC South winner, the Atlanta Falcons at minus 145, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at plus 310, the New Orleans Saints at plus 390, and the Carolina Panthers at plus 1100. Who do you have to win the NFC South?
Honestly, this was a tougher pick than I thought. I, as much as I hate the Saints, I'm kind of just reverting back to I don't know. Like, I think Derek Carr might be the second best quarterback in this division, but I'm taking the Falcons. I think they probably have the best roster out of all of these teams, but they've let me down plenty of times before. They've been 8-9 the last 2 seasons. I know they've been projected to win that division probably the last 2 years, unless it was the Saints last year. But I think the Falcons finally take that step and win the division. I mean, their quarterback situation is infinitely better. I mean, we just saw Desmond Ritter get cut, and he was the starting
Yeah.
quarterback for
Yeah.
however
Yeah.
many games
Yeah. It's
last year,
crazy.
and they still finished 8-9, I think. So
Yeah, I'm right with you. I'm gonna go with a zag on this one. I'm gonna go with the Carolina Panthers to win this division at plus 1100.
let's go.
I
Let's
just
go.
think that like I guess like last year, like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers were dead last in odds to win this division. They went out and did it. And I don't think like the Falcons are one of the best teams in the NFL. Me and you talked about it a little bit. Like Kirk Cousins is your quarterback. I don't know what has happened over the last few years other than Kirk Cousins getting older and tearing his Achilles. He's got one playoff win in his entire career. We know what Kirk is. He doesn't show up in big spots. He can't play in prime time. He doesn't win the big games. I don't see why any of that changes when he gets to Atlanta another year older on a torn Achilles. So I think that the Panthers did get better this offseason from an offensive perspective. And this is one of the teams I'm projecting to go worst to first in this division just because I don't like the Saints. I think the Bucks take a step back, and I think that they could either finish second or first in this division. And I'm going to take a swing with the Panthers.
There is always a team that goes worst to first in a division, right?
Yeah.
I think I was looking at it. It's like minus 330. It went
Is that a
Bills.
crazy pick?
It went. Hold on. It went Bills, Dolphins, Jets, Patriots, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. When I was thinking of that, when I made the Jets decision, I was like, oh, that's the team that's going to go from last to first, but they were in third. So one of my answers is going to be wrong because I don't have a team that was in last and is going to be in first. I think it is. I mean, I think it is kind of crazy, but also this division is such a shit show that
Like if anybody can look at me,
it could
like
do
if
it.
anybody is like if anybody's really gonna look at me in the face and be like, "You're fucking crazy for picking that," like the Saints, it's just like, dude, what are you talking about? Like Saints are terrible. So like I'm
I
not
don't feel
even like
good about it.
yeah, I don't feel good about any of these teams. Like I think that like Canales might be able to get the best out of Bryce Young, and like they have new offensive weapons. So I'm gonna take a swing. Next, the NFC North. The probably honestly the new best division in football. I think it's
Yeah.
crazy. Detroit Lions to win plus 125, Green Bay Packers plus 210, the Chicago Bears at plus 340, and the Minnesota Vikings at plus 850. Who do you have to win this division?
Yeah, I got the Packers. I know that a lot of people are on the Lions, rightfully so. I get it. But I like this Packers team on both sides of the ball. I think that they solved their issue at defense by hiring a new DC, and we saw how elite Jordan Love was at the end of last season. So I feel pretty good picking that team. They've got talent all over, and I just think this division is going to be so tough, but it's going to be so fun to watch these teams play each other.
Definitely. I'm going Chicago Bears.
Yep.
Chicago Bears to win this division at plus 340. Uh Caleb Williams is special. He's a top 10 quarterback already before stepping out on the field and playing a first official regular season game. He's going to get better as the time goes on. This team won 7 games last season. Should have beat the Lions twice, choked those games away. I think that this is going to be a new field team. They have crazy weapons. I think Caleb Williams is that guy, and I think that it's a team that's kind of flying, that is getting talked about a ton, but is flying completely under the radar because nobody's giving them that sort of respect of playoffs or potentially winning the division. And I think that they're right there in those conversations with the Green Bay Packers and the Lions, even though both of them had great years last year. So I'm going with the Chicago Bears.
Yeah. I knew that that's who you were going to pick in this one. I remember talking about it on the whatever pod was a couple pods ago. But I mean, I love that pick. As everybody knows, we're a pro Caleb Williams podcast over here. People, I don't know, people for some reason thought he wasn't going to be good, and I just don't. I don't know what people were watching that they thought, yeah, this kid's not going to be a phenomenal NFL quarterback. But obviously, I didn't pick the Bears, but if I didn't already have a Packers bet to win, I would have picked them as well. Just because I want Caleb Williams to live up to the hype.
Okay. Lastly, the NFC West, which is also another division where these teams are going to be extremely tough to play on a week-to-week basis. I think all of these offenses are going to be really good. And I know that people don't like Geno Smith or whatever that may be. They have Jackson Smith-Njigba, Tyler Lockett, DK Metcalf, Kenny Walker. Like, the offensive talent in this division is absolutely stacked. It's extremely hard to pick. I think so. 49ers are favored at minus 190. I think that's probably one of the worst priced teams on this entire thing, just due to their whole offseason injury, contract drama. Ricky Pearsall got shot the other day. They lost the Super Bowl. Just a absolutely awful, crazy offseason for them that I just think rolls over into the season. It's just bad vibes, and I just don't love it too much. Next, we have the Rams at plus 330, which honestly is crazy odds that they're plus 330 to win this division. I think that they are easily somebody who could win this. Same with the Seattle Seahawks at plus 700. And then lastly, the Arizona Cardinals at plus 1,300 to win this division. It's a crapshoot, and I'm excited to hear who you think is going to win this.
I picked the Rams for this one. I love Matt Stafford. I think McVay is the best coach in this division. They've got the best quarterback in this division. And I just think that the Niners are going to take a step back. You already rattled through the list of issues that they've had this offseason. So many distractions, Super Bowl hangover, etc. But yeah, I got the Rams here. I know that Puka is a little banged up right now to start the season, I believe. His ankle or something. But I mean, I don't expect him to miss any time or anything.
It's just burst a sack in his knee.
Yuck. But Cooper Kupp should be back and better than ever. So I just love we saw exactly how good they were with those two guys. So I'm taking my talents to Los Angeles for this one.
This is a tough division, and when you're looking at it, you're trying to figure out like which teams are the best. I think all these teams have really good offenses, and then I think the best defenses on paper are Seahawks 1, 49ers, and then Cardinals and Rams are a little bit. I think that they're more even than people would lead off to think. So with all of that being said, as much as I want to pick the Cardinals to go worst to first in this division, I think the Seattle Seahawks are going to win this division this year at plus 700. I think Geno Smith's an extremely accurate quarterback. We need their offensive line to play a little bit better. And we've already heard so much about this defense already this offseason. I think that they have special players. I think they added good guys. And I think McDonald's going to get the best out of them. And I just don't love that the Rams lost the best player of defense of our generation. I think that it has to mean something. And you're going to, when you hear my futures, I have a ton of Matt Stafford futures in here. I completely agree with you as well. But like when it comes to these games, I just think Seattle's just the best team in the division. As much as I hate to say it, I just think that's the case here.
I mean, undoubtedly losing the best player on your team is not a great sign. And especially a guy that when you need a play to be made on defense, he's usually the guy that's there to make a play. So that's a tough argument against, but I don't know. I just love Matt Stafford. I think that McVay is just an incredible head coach, and the adjustments that he was able to make after they started off that season last year, what was it, like 3-5 or something like that, just goes to show just how good things could be on the offensive side of the ball. They basically just need to have a pulse on defense, I think, to be able to keep into these games, because I know that they're going to go out there, they're going to score points. They're going to be able to run the football. They're going to be able to pass the football. But I'm putting a lot of faith in that defense, even after losing Aaron Donald.
Yeah, I'm right with you. All right, well, it's great. Yeah, I think I think all of these are hard to pick. I think you're absolutely foolish if you just go and pick the favorites in all these divisions. It's just never how it plays out. But ultimately, we pretty much almost did that in the AFC. So we're probably going to be wrong
Yeah,
about something.
for sure.
So yeah, those are our winners for the division for the 2024 season.
You're good.
All right, 2024 futures. I have a few here. I don't know what you have. Do you want to start us off? Or no?
I've got 9 NFL futures.
I think of a little more.
I'll probably add a couple more before Thursday, but I'll post all of these in the Discord. I think I've posted most of them besides my latest. I think I have 2 new ones that I didn't post in there. But I'll post all of them in there whenever I complete the list. But my first NFL future for 2024 is the Miami Dolphins to miss the playoffs.
What are the odds?
Odds are plus 160.
I agree with you. I think I don't know, like would it make more sense to just bet them to like lose like each week? I don't know. I have no idea. Like
Probably, but I also just don't like I want season long bets to look forward to and not have to worry about betting on a Dolphins game every week.
I got
So
you.
I'm banking on them coming in third in this division and the rest of the AFC being strong and them not making the playoffs.
My first future is Kyler Murray, AP comeback player of the year, $5 to win 230. I know he came back a little bit last season. I think Kyler's going to prove a lot of people wrong this year. I think he's going to absolutely ball out, and I think that he's like a perfect candidate to come back from that. Like you said, he's missed like 2 seasons pretty much.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that. I'm on the Kyler Murray train this year, so I'm all in on that with you. Also, I lied. It was plus 140, and it was
Nice.
2250 to win 54.
Nice.
If we're giving out dollar amounts,
we can get. Hey, listen, if they want the dollar amounts, join the Discord. They're in the Discord.
Yeah,
we're not
okay.
We're not soft and hide our dollar amounts and like like people like will put $5 on a bet and like be self-conscious about it. Like it literally does not matter. Like honestly, if you're betting hundreds of dollars on every single one of your bets, that's extremely irresponsible because I don't know how many people can afford to do that.
1-800-GAMBLER.
Yeah.
All right. I talked about this one a few times already throughout these podcasts, and it's the Las Vegas Raiders over 6.5 regular season wins at minus 135. Yeah, as we did the preview for them, my feelings towards that bet got worse and worse. So I'm hoping that Gardner Minshew can just be a game manager and that their defense is good enough to sneak out 7 wins.
Terrible bet.
Yeah, could be worse though.
Next, I have a 4,000 yard passer parlay. Trevor Lawrence to throw 4,000 yards. I don't see like why that should be an issue. He usually does that. The next one that I have on this list is Kyler Murray. Again, if you're riding that Kyler Murray train, the next one I have is Caleb Williams at plus 270 to be the first one in Bears history to do it his rookie year. He has the ammo to do it. And lastly, the most risky one, Bryce Young to throw for 4,000 yards. $2.50 to win 445. I know we just said that we weren't going to give dollar amounts, but
That's dollar amount worthy.
It went from like least risky to like most risky of that entire thing. It's just 4 guys that I want to watch all season, and I want to see them have good years. That's pretty much the bet. So I like it. I think it's a fun one to follow.
Yeah, that's pretty much, you just have to, aside, all of these guys should the 3 of the 4 should realistically get 4,000 yards, no problem, if they play 15 games.
Yeah.
Bryce Young obviously is the outlier here, but we're very high on the Panthers. You more so than me. If we get a 4,000 yard season out of Bryce Young, I know some people that are going to lose their shit.
Yeah.
So
People
that
will
would
be
be
pissed.
awesome.
People already
will
gave
be
up on
pissed.
Bryce Young. People gave up on Bryce Young already. I'm not done yet. Somebody texted me earlier today and was like, is CJ Stroud like better than Deshaun Watson was with the Houston Texans teams? I was like, probably not yet. Like I'm a very much aware that CJ Stroud's good. Like I'm not gonna sit here and act like he's not, but like Deshaun Watson was like leading the league in passing yards when he was with the Houston Texans. Like I think
He was
that
playing at an MVP level.
I think that everybody really needs to pump the brakes on the CJ Stroud talk. But like, listen, I think he's great, but he legit has so much shit to prove. It's insane. But go ahead and keep going, my bad. Or did you just give one?
No, I got one. So I've got Jaden Daniels over 500.5 regular season rushing yards at -110. They've got nobody to throw the ball to besides Terry McLaurin, and I think he's going to be running for his life. I think he's going to actually have designed runs, and he's an athletic freak, so I don't know why they wouldn't try to have the ball in his hands as much as possible.
Hey, I don't hate that. All right. Another one that I have here is a 5-leg parlay for 1,000-yard receiver, DK Metcalf, Christian Kirk, Deontay Johnson, Mark Andrews, and Trey McBride. $2.50 to win 554. All of those guys have 1,000 yards. I think DK Metcalf's probably a lock to have 1,000 unless he gets hurt. C. Kirk, I think, is a lock to have 1,000. He was on track last year until he got hurt. Deontay Johnson, maybe. And then if Andrews
Bryce Young throws for 4K, then there's no way Deontay Johnson doesn't have more than 1,000 receiving yards.
I really regret putting Mark Andrews into this. I just don't think he's the same guy. Unfortunately,
I don't think so either.
And then Trey McBride, I mean, he's a dog. But yeah, the only one that I don't really love in this is like Mark Andrews. But I don't know. Maybe if he can round into form a little bit, we can get something out of him.
I mean, he is like when he's healthy and playing, he is the number 1 option for Lamar Jackson.
Yeah. I just feel like he hasn't been like good lately. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. I drafted him in fantasy 2 years ago, and it'll never get out of my head of him. He like got a pass thrown to him in the end zone, and he volleyball set the ball into the 3rd row, and I was like, "What is going on right now?" And it was the year when he finished it was the year after he finished like 1 overall when he was putting up like 42-point games, and I drafted him early, and he was just like terrible, and I was like, "Did they do something to this guy?" Like, so yeah, I don't know. Man, I'm down on Mark Andrews, but. Go ahead.
So you mentioned Trey McBride in there. What are the odds of the Cardinals having 2 1,000-yard guys?
I think high.
Because my next bet is Marvin Harrison over 1,000.5 yards at -110.
I guess my thought process is why not? Like, why can't that be possible? I think Trey McBride is easily one of the best tight ends in the NFL. I do. I don't think I need to see anything else out of him. Obviously, we will this season, but for me to make that statement, like last year, he was doing some crazy shit. And I think Marvin Harrison Jr. instantly walks into the league and puts up plus 1,200 yards. He's that special. So I think that that duo is extremely slept on. I don't see why they couldn't both put up 1,000.
I'm just asking because I don't want it to be. I mean, I would love Trey McBride to get 1,000 for your bet, but also, I mean, I feel like nowadays, like it's not insane if you have a good quarterback for a rookie wide receiver to put up 1,000 yards.
No,
Like
on the
with the
other
amount
side
of,
of that,
I was going to
real
say,
quick,
go ahead.
they don't have the best defense, and they're going to be airing it out all season.
Yeah. Yeah. They're going to have to, they're
Something
going to
to think
be,
about.
yeah. Yeah. I completely agree. But I don't think it's crazy for a rookie to come in and have 1,000 yards if they're the number one option on a team now, just
No,
because of
no.
how good some of these rookies are. And he's coming into a situation with a good quarterback. It's not like he's going into like, it's not like he's going to have to deal with. I don't think Jacoby Brissett's horrible, but he's not great. Like I wouldn't bet
No.
1,000-yard receiver. I don't think Jalen Polk is going to have 1,000 yards. Now he's not even close to as good as Marvin Harrison, but like that's a completely different scenario in a rookie coming in and not even like, you know what I'm trying to say.
And we've also seen all of these Ohio State wide receivers over the last 5-6 years, even
They
longer,
like all
come into
hit.
the NFL, and they all hit, and they're all good immediately.
Yeah.
And people think that Marvin Harrison is the best out of all of them. So
Hmm.
I think he might be as well. He's special. The next future I have is an absolute long shot parlay of 1,000-yard wide receiver, and there's one guy in here that I regret, and I want to see if you can pick him out of the hat. Christian Watson plus 550 to have 1,000 yards. Jameson Williams plus 490 to have 1,000 yards. Roma Dunze plus 1,000 to have, or plus 490 to have 1,000 yards. And last, Dalton Kincaid plus 270 to have 1,000 yards. Which one did I regret putting in? Can you pick?
I think it's Jameson Williams.
Nah, Roma Dunze. I hate that I picked him, bro.
Really? I think I like that one. I honestly think I like Roma Dunze to have 1,000 yards more than almost any of those guys.
I don't
His
know.
odds aren't the best because I look at it this way. Like, I think Roma Dunze was the number 9 overall pick. And I think DJ Moore is still the number 1 guy there and he's gonna get his. But like, I think Keenan Allen is gonna be the third option on that team. And I don't think it's crazy if Caleb Williams throws for 4K that he has 2 guys that both have 1,000 yards receiving. And
Listen,
I think I
I
think it'd be
respect that.
DJ Moore and Roma Dunze.
Hey, I respect that. I think J-Mo could have a good year this year, but we'll see. We will see. Go ahead, hit me.
He certainly has the deep threat ability, but he's got to step up. All right, my next one here is the New York Jets over 9.5 regular season wins at -150.
How fitting. I'll rapid fire. My next one was the New York Jets outright Super Bowl X or LIX Super Bowl champions, $12.50 to win 237.50. I'm right with you. I like the Jets this year. They're my Super Bowl team. I want to see them win it.
So I've got a 4-player parlay. All 4 of these guys to have over 750 receiving yards. It's Dalton Kincaid, Devontae Smith, Dontavian Wicks, and Lad McConkey.
Okay.
12 to win 170, 160.
I just think that listen, I love I don't know why there is this massive lore around Dontavian Wicks in every circle other than the Packers. Like everybody else swears that they have a gem and the Packers don't clearly think that, I guess. He's not a starter. So I don't get why everybody's all I heard all offseason was how special Dontavian Wicks is, and he isn't even a starting wide receiver on this team. So listen,
to be fair, I placed this back in July.
Okay, that's fine. No, that's a good one. So I'm gonna go through. I'm gonna lay out 3 here real quick. Season awards, MVP. Um, I have Lamar Jackson at plus 1600. We went over that in the Ravens division. If he plays a full season, he is pretty much a lock to win MVP. He's done it 2 out of 3 times if he's played all the games. So those are pretty good odds. Next, I have Matt Stafford at plus 3,000. I think that they're going to air it out a ton. I think Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua are all-time great wide receivers for him to like his playing style. They complement his playing style so well. And I think that the Rams are still going to put up a ton of points. So even if they come in as a wild card team, I think that there's going to be real buzz around him potentially winning MVP.
I love both of those. I completely agree with the Stafford thing too. Like it always feels like he's always slept on every year, and then somehow we get to like the last few weeks of the season, and it's like, oh, Matt Stafford's about to throw for like 4,400 yards again, and they're going to be a playoff team. They won 10 games, so I just let's just respect Matt Stafford a little more. Is all I'm saying.
He's earned it. He's won a Super Bowl. He's earned it for sure.
All right, I got Caleb Williams to score 5+ rushing touchdowns at plus 125.
I don't
really know
about it.
I don't know why I picked that, but
yeah.
I think he's just a dynamic athlete. He can make plays anywhere in the pocket, out of the pocket. And I don't know. I feel just like good about putting money on him to have 5 rushing touchdowns in a 17-game season. When you're somebody that's that athletic and can beat people with your arm and your legs. So I feel like 5's honestly kind of low.
Yeah.
And their running back is DeAndre Swift. So like when they get to the red zone, it's not like I'm expecting them to do like these crazy like tush push or anything like that. But I can see scenarios where they're running read option and Caleb Williams is keeping it and walking in. Like I wouldn't be surprised if I got 3 of those and then just him scrambling and walking in. I mean, we saw him score a rushing touchdown in preseason. Doesn't count, but
Matt Stafford, most passing yards, 5 to win 100 plus 2,000. Same thing. I just think I don't. There's a lot of teams that there are a lot of guys above him on teams that just don't pass the ball nearly as much as the Rams do. So I just like those. I think those odds are mispriced, and and we just talked about Matt Stafford potentially winning MVP. So.
And if their defense ends up being bad and they have to battle back to get into games, that's just going to fit into it perfectly. Him having to throw the rock. My next one here is the Chiefs to finish first and the Chargers to finish second in their division at plus 140.
Okay.
I kind of alluded to it earlier when we were talking about division winners. When I said I had a bet on this division. I mean, I think they could end up winning the same amount of games in the division, but I think the Chiefs will finish with more regular season wins, and I think that they'll get the bump for the division and for that. And I don't ever want to bet against Mahomes. And I think Herbert's still a really good quarterback that's going under the radar. You've already talked about it, how Harbaugh's won everywhere he went. So yeah, I like the Chargers second, Chiefs first.
Next, I have a 3-leg parlay for Rookie of the Year, which I picked of Caleb Williams, Lamar Jackson to win regular season MVP, and Aiden Hutchinson to win Defensive Player of the Year.
Ooh.
Plus 56,000, $5 to win $2,800. Hey, I gave my case for the Lamar Jackson MVP talk. Caleb Williams, I think, should be an automatic lock to win Rookie of the Year. And Aiden Hutchinson, can he take that next step? I guess we'll see.
The Aiden Hutchinson one is really interesting because he was like phenomenal at rushing the passer. He just wasn't landing sacks. So if he does take that next step and is finishing these plays, I think you might have yourself a decent case there.
I think so too. I love that bet. Like low-key, I love that bet. I just like there's just guys in front of him like Max Crosby's in front of him. Like Max Crosby can have a great year, but like if they win 4 games, like he's not going to be in
Yeah.
consideration. So I just think that the Lions have high ceiling potential to be like one of the best teams in the NFL, and I think that he could
Yep.
be the best defensive player on the best team in the NFL. So I think that that's a good way to look at it. But
Yeah, that's a calm little bet right there.
thank you.
You're welcome. My last one is a parlay of the Eagles and the Packers to um, each win their division. And that is plus 473.
Nice. That's your last one, you said?
Yeah. The other ones. Okay, I actually have one other thing, but this isn't a future. This is actually for this upcoming weekend. I don't know if I should wait or I can
Yeah, just
share it
wait
now
until
or
tomorrow. Wait until tomorrow. Um, I'm gonna read through the rest of mine. If anything sticks out to you, stop me. Defensive Rookie of the Year, Byron Murphy plus 1400. Best regular season finish, Ravens plus 1,000, and then I have the Jets at plus 1,600.
that's just
Worst,
like most wins, you're saying?
the best regular season finish. So who, if they have the best regular season record?
Yeah. Okay.
Are you okay?
Yeah, that's like that's most wins. Yeah.
Yeah. Worst record in the NFL. Commanders at plus 1,200. The Commanders suck. They gave up the second most sacks last season. They didn't fix their line. Last time I checked, they still don't have a defensive line. Last time I checked, they still don't have a secondary. They traded away Jahad Dotson. Their running backs are Austin Eckler and Brian Robinson, and Terry McLaurin's 30 years old. Don't understand why anybody likes this team. Don't think that they're going to be good. Jaden Daniels is not in a position to succeed. I think that he is going to be running for his life the entire season, and I don't love that. I think the Commanders are going to be an absolute train wreck this season. I don't love anything that they have done.
No comment for me there. I agree.
Steelers alt under 4.5 wins plus 490. Just think that they're going to be really bad. I don't think that Arthur Smith is that big of an offensive guru like a Sean Payton to overcome what Russell is as a quarterback. You saw what happened with like a Nathaniel Hackett with Russ. It got really bad really quick. So again, I just think the Steelers aren't as good as everybody thinks they are. Same with their defense. 49ers, all under wins, 8.5 plus 450. Niners have year from hell written all over them. I think that the division got a lot better, and I don't know. I just don't love where the Niners are at currently. And my last one, which is a good one, Detroit to have the best record and the Patriots to have the worst record, plus 3,400, $5 to win 190. Why not?
I like that one.
Why not?
I like that one a lot. What
All right.
a bet that I was texting you about today.
Sure.
I didn't place it yet. It was the Jets one. We went back and forth on this. You said the Cardinals. I like the Jets in this situation, but it's raced to 100 points on the season.
I like the Jets more because you're getting more juice. I just worry that they're not a team that's going to score a lot of points. Their defense is good, bro. Like I think that it's a little like I was thinking like I wanted to bet like Garrett Wilson most receiving yards and like stuff like that because I think that it could be fun. I just don't think that we're going to see the sort of volume from their offense that like everybody's kind of expecting. Think that like this team might be a little like ugly, like they might get ugly wins and stuff like that just because of how their defense plays.
Yeah, that I can see that. Although I think 20 points in a 5-game stretch is very doable. But that
For
being
sure.
said, there's more electric offenses that could score more than that would put up 25 in 4 weeks that
Dude,
have buys on week 5.
My team that I like right now for that is the Cardinals. I think they're going to torch the Bills week 1. Torch them defensively. They don't have like I texted you and Brady this today. Their starting
Yep.
safeties are DeMar Hamlin and Taylor Rapp. Who
Yeah, I didn't know that DeMar Hamlin was starting there.
Name one linebacker on that team. Name one corner besides Rasul Douglas. They're not a good football team. They're just not. And I think that like people are really falling in love with what the Bills have been over the last few seasons. I think the Cardinals have an opportunity to torch them. They go to the Rams again. I made my case. Aaron Donald's not in the division anymore. I think that that's a high scoring affair between both squads. And then lastly, the Detroit Lions or week 3, Detroit Lions, same thing, high scoring affair between those two teams. And then I think I think the Cardinals could smoke the Commanders, smoke them.
I have zero confidence in the Commanders at all.
So those first 4 games, like, and like I said, like they're gonna have to put up 24 plus points if they want a chance against the Rams. They need to put up 24 plus points if you have a chance against the Lions, and they have Matt Prater as their kicker, and he has a leg on him, like all jokes aside. And so I just like the combination between their kicker, their offense, and like what they're able to do. So that's probably the lean I would take there.
Fair. Side note, the draft position just opened for my fantasy draft, and I've got the 4th pick.
Giving people our heads up on where they're drafting is one of the most ridiculous things that you can do as a commissioner of a fantasy football league, and it's unserious. It is.
You gotta talk to Trevor Search.
That makes your league unserious.
I mean, I don't care if we have to do like how you did your league with like a couple weeks before with the wheel. Like, I think that's fun and like just adds like another dynamic to the league rather than
listen. Not everybody.
Pick it.
Not everybody is as good as of a commissioner as me. Let's just put it. I was streaming for a month before the season, getting times for the draft. Like we drafted it at 10 o'clock at night or 11 o'clock at night on a Saturday, when people were like out at the bar and like doing all that
Brady.
kind of stuff. It just gives like I was in a hotel room with my girl and she was asleep. Like it just provides a different feeling of like what is possible. Like it's just it really it threw a wrench into things this season. But hey, if Trevor wants to let ESPN do it, listen, not everybody's built like me. It is what it is. What did Brady say today? I was we have a new guy in the league. He literally said I was bullying him. And Noah can attest. Noah dropped out of the league because he got bullied too hard.
I did. I started crying.
Last thing that we need to go over. We have a football game on Thursday night, and it is the Baltimore Ravens versus the Kansas City Chiefs. The line is 3, Ravens +3, Chiefs -3 at home. The Ravens money line is +128. The Chiefs money line is +152, and the over under is set at 46.5. What do you think about this game? I posted some bets in the chat this morning in Discord of some stuff that I like. I will read that off. I will probably throw one more thing in, but those are probably the bets that I have for this weekend.
Yeah, a couple things. So rematch of 2023 conference championship. I mean, this is back-to-back years when we've seen the Chiefs play on opening night. Last year they played against the Lions. I mean, we got a great game last year, 21-20 Lions win. Cheers to the NFL. They've done a good job of making these first opening night games like really good matchups. So hopefully we get to see another one like we did last year. Obviously, Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, 2 of the best in the league, going to be as electric as it gets. I have a couple things that I'm like looking forward to that I wrote down for this game. If I can touch on those and kind of see what you think. I think we're obviously both excited to see just how dominant this backfield is with Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry. I think it'll be really interesting to see how that Chiefs defense schemes up a plan to stop both of these guys. So I'm really, really looking forward to that. I think it's going to be a two-headed monster in that backfield running the football. Next, I've got how well will this Ravens O-line step up? I know that was one of their questions all offseason. I think they'll be perfectly fine, but I know that was one of the things surrounding this offensive side of the football. So I'd like to see if they can go out there and be dominant, and if they can, this game could just be like ground and pound. Like, we're just going to give the ball to Derrick Henry 30 times and see what happens, and he could just end up rushing all the way over, like literally all over Kansas City. What is this Ravens defense going to look like without Mike McDonald? He was obviously, we know that he left for Seattle, but he was a phenomenal defensive coordinator. I think he had them as the best. He had those boys over there in Baltimore as like the best defense in the NFL, maybe second, I think, behind the Browns.
Listen, we heard like there was like 5 best defenses in the league
Yeah.
last year. Whatever, whoever the fuck the best defense was, that's who it was. I have no idea. They were all really
but
good.
one of them, one of them. How will Xavier Worthy look in this new offense is another thing that I'm curious about. We know he's fast. Is he going to be used how they used Tyreek Hill? Is he going to be used in another way? Like, I'm kind of interested to see how that goes. And then lastly, like, are we going to see the playoff version of Travis Kelce, or are we just going to see like the same version of Travis Kelce that we saw last year, where he just looked a step slower, he just looked uninterested, or is he going to be back on like somewhat of a revenge tour? Because he didn't look great last season. So that's kind of what I've written down here, just to keep an eye out for Thursday.
A few things. I don't understand. I think first and foremost, I think the under is something that needs to be discussed right away in this game. Everybody has this weird preconceived notion that the Chiefs are this like high flying, big points, like scoring team. They're not. They're not that, and nothing that they've done this offseason has indicated that they are going to be that team at all. I don't think Xavier Worthy is going to be a good football player in the NFL. Chiefs have a weird fetish for these like these small, fast wide receivers. Mr. Pfizer spent the entire offseason shooting a movie, running around with Taylor Swift on tour and doing everything other than getting ready for the football season. There's no reason for me to believe that a year older Travis Kelce is going to look any better than he did last season. Lastly, I know the Chiefs fans love Hollywood Brown all of a sudden, even though he's on his third team in 4 years. He's not going to play. So, boom, there we go. Throw that out the window. My immediate reaction when I'm looking at this game is like, we know who the Chiefs are. Let's not overthink this. The Chiefs were not a good football team last year. They were, but they weren't. They won a lot of ugly games. I think that the Ravens are more than capable of winning an ugly football game just as much as the Chiefs are. I just think the Ravens have better offensive weapons. And by what I mean from that is just like being able to run the football better than the Chiefs will. And I think that's what this game's going to come down to is who can run the ball better, who can move the sticks. And I think the Ravens are just a little bit tougher in that aspect. But I do think it's going to be a low scoring affair, but I do like the Ravens to win this game outright.
I mean, this is going to be backwards, but
no, that's right.
Ravens +3 under 46.5 is where I'm at for this game. I'm just banking on the Chiefs starting slow, having a Super Bowl hangover. And the Ravens are going into the season with a sour taste after how they ended last year against the Chiefs. I think they're going to come out and want it a little bit more. And that's why I'm picking the Ravens.
Yeah, and like you said, they wanted a little bit more. They lost on a fumble to Zay Flower on the goal line to Zay Flowers, and it was a big game. And ultimately, bro, I just I just don't know. And I'm a hater of the Chiefs for sure, but like, what did the Chiefs do this offseason that makes you feel like, all right, yep, undoubtedly, like they're gonna win 14 games, like good for them, like blah blah blah. Like, I don't see it, I guess. Like, I don't see it the way everybody else is seeing it. Can you talk me through that of why I'm not like seeing that the same way as everyone else?
I think people just assume that Xavier Worthy's going to come in and beat Tyreek Hill. Um, and I think that people are just not remembering that Marquise Brown had drop issues throughout his entire NFL career. I think Rashee Rice is really good, but they had him last year. So I I think it ultimately goes back to just the fact that it's still Patrick Mahomes, it's still Andy Reid. Um, but and again, like we've seen the Chiefs kind of crack in the regular season. And I don't think it's unrealistic by any means for the Ravens to win this football game. But I think everybody's just on the apparently like the Super Bowl hangover just doesn't apply to Patrick Mahomes, but it applies to every other team because they even though they won the Super Bowl last year and looked pretty bad for a good stretch of the regular season, like people aren't talking about that part of it. Like the Chiefs won the Super Bowl. It's normal to have a Super Bowl hangover. It's normal for you to start relatively slow. I get it. You added a guy in Xavier Worthy that a lot of people like. Travis Kelsey's older, but he's still one of the better tight ends in the NFL. And you still have Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid. But like, I do think people are really just expecting this team to win 12, 13, 14 games again. And I think people are going to be shocked when they don't, but I guess that's just like the greatness of Patrick Mahomes at this point. I think that's probably what people are banking on. But the Ravens are a really fucking good regular season football team, really good team in general. So I think that
I,
this
I
line should
just
maybe be a little different, but I mean, I love the Ravens here.
I know that the O line got brought up for the Ravens. Something that didn't get brought up for the Chiefs or the O line. I think Joe Thunley's really good. I think Creed Humphrey's really good. I think Trey Smith's really good. What's not being mentioned is Jawan Taylor's their right tackle, who's below average,
Yep.
and then you have Kingsley Suamatoa, a rookie, starting at left tackle for them this season, and nobody has mentioned
Yep.
it. It's like
Nobody.
any problem, and then you look at their roster on offense. Patrick Mahomes. I think Isaiah Pacheco is okay. Behind him, they have Samaje Perine. Then you have
Yuck.
Rasheed. The three receivers that are going to be out on the field this weekend for them is Rashee Rice, Xavier Worthy, and then a mixture of Justin Watson, Juju Smith-Schuster, Sky Moore. I don't know. I just like if you have
I don't think
Juju out on
Juju's
the
going to play.
Juju got cut by the Patriots. I mean, he's listed as the second string wide receiver behind Marquise Brown. So
That's
I'm
that's
just going
miserable.
based off of their depth chart here. I don't know. And then you go on the other side of the football, and I mentioned this before. They lost the corner. What's his name?
Sneed.
They lost L'Jarius Sneed, and their defensive backs coach was like, "Yeah, that's like losing like Michael Jordan on defense." So I'm just going based off of like what they're saying, not like anything else. I think still you look at this group of I think Rashee Rice is special. I will say that. I think he's a dog. I think you look at the rest of this skill group and it is below average. I'm not looking at what they did and being like, holy shit, like they fixed all their problems. If you think Xavier Worthy is going to come out and be Tyreek Hill, you're a complete idiot.
Yeah,
I don't
I
care.
don't
I
I
don't
don't
care if
I
that
don't
offends anybody. That you are a complete idiot if you think Xavier Worthy is going to step on the field and be one of the best wide receivers to ever lace up the cleats just because he ran a 4.240. That's
I
retarded.
was just
I
I was
probably shouldn't
just gonna
say that.
say
Fuck. Whatever. Sue me.
I I was just gonna say I think we had an off mic conversation about this. How I think that Tyreek Hill is probably like a top 7 receiver like right now in the
Yeah.
NFL history. And for people to think that just because Xavier, also people are forgetting that Xavier Worthy weighs 130 pounds and Tyreek Hill is like 190 and is as fast as he is.
Yes.
That certainly plays a role in this. And people just are not taking that into account.
I think that everybody loves. Listen, the Chiefs had a good season last year. I'm not going to say that. There was a point where everybody was panicked on them, and what I see from this team is pretty much the same squad. I don't think anything got that much better. I don't think that they improved drastically at all. We went over it during the draft combine. How many receivers who are 6 foot, 150 pounds, who ran a 4.240 have ever been successful in the NFL? Zero. Zero. There's been none that have like been good. So like Xavier Worthy would have to be like an absolute anomaly to beat those odds. We have years and years and years of data to back this up. I think that everybody's going to be pretty high on the Chiefs. I think this is a good opportunity to get the Ravens early in the season. Like we said, Lamar Jackson plays 70%. He wins 70% of over 70% of his games. And I think that this game is going to be a lot uglier than people think. First opening game, people are going to be slamming the over. People are going to be taking Xavier Worthy touchdown, Patrick Mahomes to throw 300 yards, Travis Kelce touchdown. In reality, it's going to be a ground and pound game. Isaiah Pacheco is going to get a lot of work. Derrick Henry is going to get a ton of work. It's going to be an ugly defensive football game with a lot of running. And hey, that's a great way to start the season, in my opinion.
The crazy thing is that last year, like people do always get this thing in their mind where it's a primetime game. Like we're gonna get 35 to 28, or we're going to get 42-28. Like we're going to get a high scoring game. That's always what goes through people's minds in these primetime games. And reality is that these primetime games have been going under. At least they did a lot last year. So I feel great about 47.5 going under that. And I love the Ravens +3. I think it's going to be I'm just happy that we have football back. I mean, I don't think I don't even think we stated that at all throughout the podcast, but it feels fucking good to be back.
Yeah, it does.
And seeing Derrick Henry run into the end zone is going to be phenomenal. I have him in fantasy, so.
My first bet that I have posted in the Scary Hours Discord is Baltimore Ravens money line. If you use FanDuel, they give you a no sweat token, $20 to win $45 at +128. And then the parlay that I cooked up is alternate under 50.5 points. Bump that under up a little bit. The Baltimore Ravens at +6.5. Can they not lose by more than a touchdown? And then Isaiah Pacheco, 50 yards rushing. Derrick Henry, 60 yards rushing. Lamar to throw for 175. Patrick Mahomes to throw for 200. $5 to win 70. I feel like that's a very doable parlay.
Yeah. I haven't created my same game parlay yet, but I have Derrick Henry or Travis Kelce to score boosted to 100. And then I also have Lamar Jackson and Mahomes to combine for 50 plus rushing yards. That's also boosted to 100.
I like that.
So I'll probably have something together, maybe like a little Zay Flowers, couple receptions. But then I really do like Derrick Henry rush yards. I like Pacheco rush yards. But I'll have to take a look and see what lines I'm feeling, and I'll put that in the Discord as well.
Yep. And again, thank you guys for watching. Feels good to be back. I need a little break.
Thank you.
I went to Boston, hung out for the weekend, cleared my mind. The Discord is going to be in the description. Make sure you guys join up, interact, type in the chats, share your bets, do whatever. And if you guys ever want to watch a game, let me know. We can do that. And Noah, do you have anything else?
I've been seeing more and more people joining the Discord, which is cool. Some people that are I'm just like, I don't even know who this is, but I appreciate you joining.
Yeah, thank you for joining. I think we're up to like 50 members or something like that. So let's keep it pumping.
Let's keep going. But hey, welcome back. Feels good.
Thank you, brother. I'll have this up.
White clouds blowing out when we max. 4-5, not the size, but it kick up.